We do on Central, innit? It goes straight up to YouTube Live. Get the camp phone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the camp phone, innit?
You got the camp phone?
No, he said he did. Brother said that. Yes.
Login details on my phone.
What is it?
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah, that seems better already.
Yeah, I think it is. It's actually playing now.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a bit clever. That one was choppy before.
So just
Yeah.
you got on mute.
Oh,
Yeah.
check it out.
Go ahead.
Just a quick one. Matthew 4:17. For that time, from that time, Yahushua began to preach and to say, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand." And yeah, the kingdom's at hand, because now it's like what? Well, one more year closer towards the destruction of this place. And like the brother mentioned, we deal with the year 2022. There are all kinds of shit popping off to where it's like you compare the start of the year to the end. It's like two different. You've gone through. You descended into the phantom zone, man. You're dealing with a whole different form of how shit's moving. So how much more so, through the course of 2023, Lord willing, we could be out here. But yeah, that's why it's what the kingdom's at hand, man. It's something that we're seeing come to pass before our very eyes. Because even with the MOTV, that's something where we've basically seen what more and more things happen. You had before the year, when the year kicked off, it was what's his name, Neuralink, Elon Musk was mentioning that. Now we've seen there's other companies already been doing human trials, and then as well, it's become something that's now a hot topic. It's being spoken about on a much wider scale. It's being debated to where it's like, yo, this is something that we could see, come to pass in some, in some means, some fact, like parts of it come together very soon. Same for with the crypto, with the what's it called, central bank digital currencies. That's something that was, I think it was only really China and a few other countries where they were doing trials, and then the US said they had to jump on it. But it's like what Canada, the UK, the Bank of England, these guys are now saying like, oh, we need to get into this.
Yeah, I was redoing some research earlier on in the month, and it's basically CBDCs. It's like 95% of like the global GDP. Like countries representing 95% of the global GDP are now working on CBDCs.
Yeah, because it's even with China. The thing with China is the way they were able to to enact that, where it was like what, having the money with a time limit on it, all these different things. That then what lets you see like, yo, these guys are gonna make that shit like tokens, man. Gonna make it. It's basically more control. And they always say it's like, oh, it's for security to stop criminal elements getting around it. But then, that's always a classic argument. It's for your own good.
Some precepts in it.
Okay.
Sure.
You got
something?
I got something. Well, it's a bit of a longer one, but
I was on the mark, innit?
oh no, if you got one on there, because I was.
So this is on the mark. This is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads, man. So all types of people and all classes of people are going to be, you know, they're going to be persuaded or forced to receive that mark, man. The M-A-R-K, which is that.
Really, I was gonna say really persuade because it's deception.
Yeah, deception. That's it.
You know, you ain't gonna be forced. It's gonna be presented to you in a fashion that there'll be a temptation. Look, you ain't like you go to our forefathers in the book of Second Maccabees.
Yeah.
The woman, the mother with the 7 children, and the elder as well.
Yeah.
They said, you know, they came like, look, you know, do this for us.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do it. Look, it's a good idea if you do this. No. And then that's when the countenance is going to change. And then it's really going to be like, look, you know, torture, whatever method.
Yeah.
And then it's on you.
That's right.
There's a temptation.
That's right, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, because if Esau forced it on you, it's not tempting you, is it? It's just like.
Yeah, scripture says they that consent unto them shall be had in derision.
Yeah. Can't come for that. But yeah, so that could be celebrities, people in the prisons, you know, it says free or bond. Yeah, and obviously they're going to be using celebrities to push the, you know, the CHIP hard as well. A lot of jigs were influenced when the you know, the Vex was out, the Yabs and Jabs, stuff like that. You had the Juvenile making a song about it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
You know what I'm saying?
bro.
Verse 17. But no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You know? So what's that talking about? Buying and selling. Buying and selling. That's going to be the new form of way of spending, exchange, currency. Yeah? It's no longer going to be the tap with your credit cards and debit cards anymore. It's going to be completely cashless, no more coins and cash. You know, what we moved from the paper notes to the plastic notes. They've been making excuses about, oh, you know, this could be what they were saying about
the virus.
Yeah, exactly, about the virus. This can, you know, stuff like that.
Carry it as well.
It can carry on the money. So they're using that excuse to get everybody, you know, chipped, man. You know what I'm saying? And here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the for is the number of a man, and his number is 666, which goes to the 666, which I believe Russell, yours going into this as well. Like it goes into like the barcodes as well, right?
The three thick lines on the barcode.
That's right.
You've got the first one, which is a thick black line, the one in the middle, one at the end. But both represent 6 in the UPC code.
That's it. Good precept, yeah.
This is Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. And we know that beast, you know, is talking about, the Roman Empire, but coming back today through NATO and the EU, right? They're alive and kicking today, all right? And they're going to be, greatly involved in the implementation of that RFID, right? The chip.
That's right.
All right. And it says, and we know that they got an agenda of establishing their NWO, the New World Order. That's what this is all a part of. That chip is that, capstone on that pyramid, the final thing to cement their rule. Okay, now it says, and if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand.
And just in case anyone out there wants to get smart, if you try to take it anywhere in your body, it could be your elbow, your legs, wherever. If you take that, you're still getting destroyed, right? Because that's it. When you go into the mark, it talks about a badge of servitude onto the devil. So if you take it, you're through, and there's no coming back from that. Your judgment is inescapable, man.
You can't repent from taking that.
That's it.
So it says this is the judgment. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So that shows you the judgment there. You're not going to receive any mercy of the Lord. right? The Lord is going to have righteous anger towards those that take the chip, man. You know, that's why it's a serious message when we teach what the MOTB is. You know, what is the chip? You know, what is the charagma? Because people saying that it ain't the chip, what are they going to do when it comes? Most likely they're going to take it. And that's blood on those people's hands that we're teaching that it wasn't what it was. All right? They're going to receive that destruction with the fire when America, Babylon, is you know, pelted with those missiles, you know, and people are burned to death, man. All right?
Got signed. This is Revelations 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which is going into that mark, man. The CHIP, man. Like the brother mentioned, it's, you know, people are going to be persuaded through that temptation, man. And if you could probably show if a brother can get, was it Psalms 55:21, smooth on the heart? Yeah, because he's still talking a big game, man. He's a good advertiser. He's a good marketer, you know. So, and he's also deep into psychology. So he knows how to play the minds of the people, psyops and stuff like that, right? So he was
Quick one on that.
Yeah, you got something?
Yeah, I've just done that. It says Psalm 64 and 6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. But both the inward thought and both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
Very deep, man. So they research all of these things. Oh, how do the minds of the people think when this happens? You know, the PRS, problem, reaction, solution, pressure from above and below. How, you know,
what psychological operations?
that's it, man. Psyops, man. There you go, man.
And that's something that there's a whole research institutions, think tanks and whatnot, where they'll do studies. And the way ESO goes about them is usually, whenever you check these studies, they'll say, oh, we invite these people in, gave them a test. But then there's the one where they're doing the think like for how groupthink works. They had the one where they had them all go into a room and think on taking the test. Then afterwards they started smoke coming out the door, and then everyone else was like just paid to be there, didn't do shit. Then the one person, they were like, okay, what do they do? Then they said the vast majority of them didn't even move. They'll sit there like the shit's about to catch on fire, but because no one else moved, they moved. So these are the things that they research into. So when it comes to what, okay, they know, okay, if we can get the masses down with it, we can make it acceptable, then most people are gonna fall in line.
Yeah, or the elder brother posted that in the chat yesterday about basically the algorithm is a very big part of the, you know, of the programming, right? The way the algorithm works, because you create what's called an echo chamber, right? You know, echo, you hear what you're saying back. So then basically people are in a position whereby, hey, because when you actually speak with people on the low, right? You know, when someone gets comfortable with you and they speak to you on a low, a lot of people ain't down with this T shit. A lot of people ain't down with the G shit either, right? But in public, they're like, oh, hey, do you think everyone is really for that? But that's that group think as the brother was going into. I've got a precept on that. If I'm Exodus 23:2, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Neither shalt thou speak and cause to decline after many to rest judgment.
It's like that monkey see, monkey do, man. That's like a lot of these people they'll just follow the crowd. But the scriptures gives you the wisdom. You know, you ain't follow, you know, some, you know, evil just because you see many people doing it. You know, that's what makes this, you know, walk difficult. This is that straight gate, the narrow path, because we're walking that path that not everybody is gonna take, man. You know, they say what the road less traveled. You know, that's basically the narrow path that leads to salvation.
I got a quick one. Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove for what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Yeah. So it's as far as when, you know, you're man in this word, you're in this walk, then you're meant to be what? To have a renewed mind, to where what you're not being conformed to this world. Because like the brother said, it's like a lot of people, you talk to them, then, you know, when after a while you can start to get to where it's like you realize, oh, they're not just falling in line as far as, you know, in the recesses of their mind, but they just know they have to say something. And it's funny because you had the FTX guy,
Sam
Bankman-Fried, SBF,
Yeah.
you know, the news, like, they said, like, they had the leaked text. Wade was saying, like, oh, you know, I just have to say all that shit just so that they think I'm a good guy. That's how these guys all are. When you deal with, it's a good example is Amber Heard. When the Me Too stuff happened, she was giving talks on abuse. Meanwhile, you know, she was taking a dump on Captain Jack Sparrow's bed, like, you know, that's when you get down to it, hey, these people aren't even living what they say.
Yeah.
So that's why even more so, like, you know, if you're going to be in the truth, you're just wondering after it, you're just saying like, oh, you know, it's not so bad. Then it's you know, you're being a simpleton.
Sirach 10 says, as the leader of the people, it's sort of everyone that's in it. But then it says in Psalm 58:3, it says the wicked are strayed from the womb, they go as soon as they be born speaking lies. Right? So if the ruler of this person of this city is someone who speaks lies, so are all that are therein. Right? And that's what you see in this world. No one is honest. Like you know, you try to buy something second hand these days without like buyer protection, man. You don't know what the hell you get.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the spirit of the people, they're all delusional, narcissists. You know, they need instant, you know, validation. Like
Lovers in their own self.
lovers in their own self.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
That's why you have it with the social media.
Selfie spirit. All of
Yeah,
that.
selfies. And then now it's like, we spoke about this a couple weeks ago. Reality TV is like the cornerstone of entertainment right now. Whereas before it was more, you had more creative space within entertainment. Yeah, the earliest I remember is Real World on MTV. And I was like, it's kind of weird. I was like, what? They put them in a house and they just sit there? Then Big Brother, and then it just,
Yeah, now you got whole channels dedicated
to it. And I remember it'd be like they had the MTV Diary where you follow your favorite. It's like, oh my God, Mars has got a fucking MTV Diary. It's like, yeah, I'm going on tour. I'm going to be in me for like 2 weeks. And it's like, bro, he actually has a fucking personality. That's how you don't see the celebrities. But now, fast forward to the time that we're in now, celebrities are going live on their social media. And now it's like they said, if an ordinary person has 1,000 followers, they're an influencer too. So what's that put in the mindset of the people? I have an impact in this world. I can influence the masses as long as I get some people to follow me.
That's it.
So now everyone loves themselves, and like, okay, I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna curate this lifestyle for myself. But this is all heading to destruction because, as you mentioned it before, brother, about Broad being away and, you know, NT and the Stray K, because basically that's that broad way. And those people that influence the people, they're taking them down on a sinking ship with them, man.
Well, please, sir. Well, good one. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and 11. That's it. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Can you go into that word device, bro? No way I'm not in the Greek.
Yep, so the Greek for the word devices is noemo, all right, and it says a mental perception or thought, an evil purpose.
So that's what Esau's trying to push out there into the world, an evil purpose. He has an evil agenda, man. Yeah, evil schemes, evil plans. At 2030, the New World Order, the Georgia Guidestones. Yeah.
It took them how long
He
to
took-
demolish
you
that?
see-
They
you
took it
see what I'm
down,
So 2022 was kind of hot, man.
Yeah, it was what, bro? So much shit happened, bro.
Yeah, they had to take that down. You know, what happened that striked it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it fell down at like 4:33. Yeah, it was when you see the time marker on it, and when the explosion happened, it's like 04:33 minutes and 33 seconds. And it was like, okay, cool, calm. We see what's going on.
Yeah. But even that you know, went viral and exposed their plans as well, man. One of the main things was like one of their was it to maintain the humanity under 500 million, I believe, $500 billion. You see, that was going viral, showing you the plans of the elites, you know, what they got in mind. Yeah,
From when the Great Reset was getting spoken about,
exactly. Yeah.
kind of came to the forefront again.
So yeah, go on.
I've
Yeah.
got a precept.
Even more.
That's it.
Alright, this is John 12:25. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal.
Mhm.
So this is going back into that mark. Because only the reason why people are gonna want to take it is because they want to preserve their life, they want to save themselves.
That's it.
Esau's gonna reel off all the different, say the reasons why. Look, man, we can give you food, we can give you shelter. You're not gonna have to worry about these different kind of things. And they're gonna weigh it up in the balances, just like they did with the Novid jumper. They're gonna say, you know what, it's the best thing to do. But the moment they do that, all right, willfully do that, and be like, yes, all right, I got it. I'm part of the system. Tells you in Revelation 16 about a soul. Every man that took it. So you're gonna have health complications. Just like right now, you have all these people dying right now, and then everyone's all mystified.
Yeah.
But they're all dying for the same Novid.
You know that same elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Right, here it is. We can see the elephant.
Yeah.
That's the elephant. Like,
Yeah.
what was so hard?
Yeah.
These guys, But they blamed everything. They said it's fast food.
Yeah,
They said it's climate change. Which is like,
Yeah, they're trying to make everything kind of change now.
It's BS, yeah, because 2022 was hot, man. Because coming back to what you said, look at what happened in sports. The football players, they didn't know us to be the fittest people on the planet, but they're all dropping dead to cardiac arrest, man.
Yeah.
But it's because of that
They put-
receiving. That's
yeah.
it, man.
They've been running like 90 minutes, man.
Come on, bro.
Off.
Yeah.
Like they're like
The level of a football court, football pitch, right?
because it's like football's one of those level of stamina. Same
Yeah.
like basketball.
No, not basketball.
It's
not the same.
higher.
It's
Higher
intense,
intensity.
but football's the most
Yes.
intense. I remember I looked, a brother must have posted it. I saw it.
right.
Football's like top 10, 90 minutes,
Mm.
2:45. Basketball's just an hour long, 4 quarters, 15 minutes.
Spurts, yeah.
24-second shot clock is back and forth. More sprinting.
Mm.
But football's 90 minutes, and you're running the length of a football pitch. You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So that's why, like you said,
Mm.
they're dying, man.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I got precept.
Oh,
Just
I got
like the after you.
So, 2 Timothy 3:1 says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away." And that's just like a cocktail of the modern human being, like this present time, because it's something that man, woman, whatever you're gonna find, they're all caught up in that same like mindset, the hedonistic lifestyle, the chasing pleasures, chasing money, chasing as much experiences as you can.
What's that apostle going into that? Is it Epicurean spirit?
Oh, Epicurean.
Epicurean, that's the one. Epicurean spirit, yeah.
Epicurean, where it's just trying to maximize your bliss and enjoyment.
Wisdom with Solomon, the 5th chapter, you always read that. About that, not the flower passes by.
Yeah.
Whatever the latest
Yeah,
fashion
the
trend is,
yeah.
they just jump on it, man. What we're wearing big boots now? Okay, let's wear that.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta go and fly to the buy now? Let's go and do that. That's the spirit, man.
Trendy spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing now with the new year. Like New Year's resolution, all of that, they're living it up, getting wasted, they're gonna be vomiting on the streets,
No, it's
walking
like
drunk,
now they're doing like dry January or Veganuary or whatever. It would just be a trend that they'll jump on, and that's because why they're just in the system.
Real quick, so 1 Corinthians 7:31, and they that use this word as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away.
And that's cold because that's the thing that's plain to see. But you can go back like 5-10 years, because even talking about these teas, I remember it's like when we were at camp, it would be like on Oxford Street way back in the day. It'd be like you see one. It'd be like seeing a fucking an ostrich in the wilderness, man. It's just like seeing a rare animal. But now it's something where it's common as so. There's one on the train as well on the way here, man.
Yeah, same.
I was like, bro, it's bump into them like left, right, and center because now that's become the new fashion, and that's something that even going back, like, because they mentioned Nero used to do that shit back in Rome. That's it. Like, these are things that it's because it's the same beast had the deadly wound and was healed. Just like in Rome, they'll get down with these the like Nambla just being the pedestry coming back. So it's all these things are basically coming back because why? It's an Esau's spirit. And it's gonna once again, just like during the Dark Ages when Jake took over, all that got flushed away. But now it's all back.
I got something.
I'm after you, bro.
This is Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. I'm saying that because brother earlier was speaking, he was mentioning how like these people that basically love their lives here, and they want to prolong their time, they want to keep their lives, but how much more these elites? They want to hold on to their rulership. That's why they're doing all of this, trying to push the mark, the charagma, and that's why you've seen all of these elites having all these heart transplants, trying not to die.
Yeah.
They want to see their plans come to, fruition. Yeah.
They're trying to change that what they call fountain of youth, but that's not promised unto them. Immortality is promised to the children of Israel, man. If I can get first scripture.
So they had their time to rule, but the scripture said that they would have a little season, man. So their time is running short, but that's why they had the time where they would go around the earth conquering with the sword, calling the lands after their names, America after Amerigo Vespucci, so on and so on, but now we're coming into the time where they're being revealed, and we can see that this place is on its way out.
Something on basically when I mentioned fountain of youth, this is 1 Corinthians 15, verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. We live in these mortal, viral bodies that are full of corruption, and they sin, they go off. And the scripture talks about sin is basically the wages of death, And what Esau's trying to do is trying to use the flesh and combine it with machine technology to try and preserve life, but it doesn't work that way, man. It's all down to the Spirit of the Lord, right? Verse 51, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. And this is referring to the elect of Israel, man, right? In a moment, in a twinkle of the eye, at the last trump, where the trumpet shall sound and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this, the corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. When you look at the word mortal, it means able to die. Yeah, but immortality is unable to die. Yeah, so we're going to be like literal, or way better than Superman, because Superman had kryptonite. That was his weakness. But when you read the scriptures, the prophecies in Hebrews 8, it talks about it will be in our inward parts. The law, statutes, and commandments will be in our inward part, and we won't go off. We won't have to teach our neighbor. So therefore, we'll be sin-proof. We won't have no kryptonite. So, and it says, for this, it's like a 54. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the same that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Yeah, because there'll be no such thing as death for the Israelites, man. Do you know what I'm saying? So Esau, what he's trying to do with that M-A-R-K, yeah, and his technology, these signs and wonders, lying wonders, he's trying to preserve life. But guess what? That gift was not for him, man. It's for the Israelites. So there's nothing he can do, no technology in the world that he can experiment on to get that fountain of youth, man, to live forever, man. It's just for the Israelites. Yeah. Yeah. Go on.
This is Revelation 16 and 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth.
Yeah, spirit of devils working miracles. Even with that M-A-R-K, you may have seen things where someone has spoke for the first time with that CHIP, stuff like that, or they've been able to walk. Yeah. So that's the excuses or the persuasion they're going to use on the masses of people to get people hooked onto that CHIP. Oh, this can save your life. this can heal you. Yeah, or you can see now. Yeah, so he's gonna present himself like he's the Messiah, the Lord. Yeah, but it's all to deceive you and to get you destroyed by the end, man.
Yeah. I've got that, so you can read the
I'll finish it. Yeah. I was just that's what you had.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's the spirit. It says, "For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Yahweh Almighty." But yeah, like the brothers are saying, and that's why they're showing you guys like Elon Musk with Neuralink, you know, with their innovative tech, you know, they're breaking grounds of technology and what was it, making the blind see and all of that. But as the brother mentioned earlier, that there's a grievous sword that comes with that, according to prophecy.
Yeah.
You know, anything that Esau does, it comes with side effects. It comes because he's not. It's a false power. You know, you like brother was reading 1 Corinthians where we be changed in a twinkling of an eye. Esau can't do that. He doesn't have that type of power. We get that power through Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Esau, he's a false god, man.
That's it, yeah, we might as well, because it's the same text, just jump up to verse 2.
Verse 2, yeah. All right, this is up in verse 2. It says, "And the first went forward." It says, "And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sword upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image."
Yeah, so that mark is gonna be affecting people. I believe there was they even said like they wanted to test it on I think I don't want to say the T word. People that are rebellious to society, they said it had what, cyanide, I think? Was that the chemical? Like a poison chemical? One of the chemicals.
Jones said that.
Yeah, stuff like that. So there's stuff like that, and also even with the radiation.
Yeah.
When you look into that, it's actually harmful to the flesh, man, to the heart and to your tissue, man.
Well, even just look at what's been happening with the V.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's basically, and this is one of those ones as well where anecdotally you can prove it, right? The fact that the people now who have had all of the layups, all of the shots, right, are the ones that are the only ones getting it these days.
Yeah.
Right? You be hit about work. You're like, oh, where's so and so? Oh, they're off sick. They got the thing. And in the back of your mind, it's like, well, I swear that this is 4 shot Joe.
Yeah.
He's doing it from the halfway line. But that's why it's like, it's funny because even with that, it's like there's hella people that's like, they'll ask me, it's like, oh, did you take it? I said, nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They might be a bit funny about it. I was like, bro, I just say to them, I was like, okay, I'm young and healthy. Like, I live alone. What the hell do you want from me, man? Like, that's it. And anyone, that's the thing is most people, unless you're around someone that's like at risk or something, there's no reason for you to even be getting
considering it.
And even if you are around someone that is at risk, there's still no reason for you to get it.
Because it's
a tool tell.
And then with like the way it's trends, it's like now, all the stuff they said before, it's the shit was the same for like a year and a half. Now they're saying, actually, we did research and it wasn't, it was all useless. As far as like with the mask, social distancing, all the lockdowns and whatnot, they're saying, the impacts of how the kids have been socialized, they might never recover from it. I'm like, bro, was this a surprise to anyone?
Exactly. We were saying this. Where's my degree? I've got something real quick. Unless Sirach 12 from 10 says, never trust thine enemy. For like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. And that there is physics, man. When you leave iron, you add some oxygen, you get rust. Basically, this is saying this is something that's going to happen.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable, right? This man, he can do, and what is this going to go and say? So he humble himself and go crouching, right? For medical injustices against the black and brown communities.
Oh gosh,
right? Therefore, we think it's best for them to come and we need to make sure that they take it first, right? Here it is, JB, disproportionately represented in the abortion clinics, disproportionately represented to do with heart disease and all of these other ailments. But it's this one that we're going to care about. It says, yet take good heed and beware of him. right? And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. And that's it, man. You know, and that's one of the reasons, for instance, I was thinking about the precept says my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, right? Because one of the bits of information our people don't know is that this man is the devil.
That's yeah.
Right? Despite the fact that we've told them, you know, starting off with the apostle on down, this is a well-known thing, right? Even just looking at his track record. So as such, when Esau comes and says something, when we hear it, you're like, yo, it's the devil, man.
Stay away, stay away.
I mean, let me read this to back up your point. Brother called it before. Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
That's it.
Shows you Esau knows what you want to hear, man.
Yeah.
He can talk that slick talk.
Oh, he sounds like a woman.
Yeah.
You know, women can do all that slick, oh, but baby, all of this, that, and yo, bro. So you're gonna be wise.
And next thing you know, it's a set up in the hood.
Exactly.
And that's why Esau and Eve have that relationship, man.
Yeah.
Because when you go back to the garden, he got up in the air and started speaking ever so softly. And she was like, yeah, you're right. Then she went and told Adam, look, we need to eat this.
Yeah.
So that it really is that. Esau knows what he's doing.
On that.
And even remember, he's a physical counterpart of who? Satan. When Satan, when the Lord, the day in the book of Job, when the Lord required all the sons of the Most High to come before him, and he asked, you know, Satan to consider his son of Job. What did Satan say? Yeah, he's righteous, but it's because you got a hedge around him. So it's like, so you know about him. You know about Job because he was sitting there praying. And even there, man. I would have done that. You wouldn't have none of that.
True, yeah.
So hey, that's where Esau's a cunning hunter, the way he's prayed. So that's where he's on us, man.
Just on that point, it's 1 Timothy 2:13 and 14. For Adam was first formed in Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
And it's funny because with that's how weaknesses get exploited by especially with Jake. And that's another angle for which how this one of the temptations for this mark, man, because it's gonna be what people that the woman's gonna be like, think about your kids, you baby, fat, whatever. It's one of them angles. And that's another thing that Esau does research into, the dynamics of like how these things impact people.
You ain't think about Cat Williams, man, where he said about smoking the weed death. And he'd be like, you having a hard time? Just smoke some weed and see it don't change your goddamn eyes. He smoked the weed. And your kids be shouting, Daddy. Fuck them kids. I'm gonna say smoke weed, but that's how you do what I am, man. If it's the Lord or your children, your wife, fuck that, man.
I've got a precept. I've got a quick one. This is Jeremiah 2:33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. So,
No.
I was gonna say, so you're not supposed to be going to your oppressor to try to gain love, man. It's as simple as that. Like, this man hates you and he's showing you time after time, but you still want to, oh no, he has my best interests at heart. Let's give him a chance. Let's vote for Joe Biden. Let's vote for all these whoever got these guys they put in front of us. But then they end up just looking to destroy you, man. You're in a worse off position than he was to begin with.
Even on the first bit of that's what Trim started our way to seek love. For instance, a lot of the Jakes, the few Jakes that I know that actually took the V, those are the ones that were working in that middle class environment where it was sort of like there's that social pressure of they all have it, so it's like, I'm gonna have it, and look down on everyone else who hasn't got it, right? And that's that thing. And that's one of the reasons why the Lord separated us from these heathens. And also what scripture says, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, the way of the wicked seduces him.
You have yours? Going back a bit more, well, okay, I read it. Ezekiel 28:6 says, "Therefore, thus saith the Most High Power, because thou hast set thine heart as a heart of the Most High. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness." Kind of going back to what I was saying before about Esau and his wiles. You know, he's been given that wisdom. He's been given the capability to, you know, pursue, bring certain technologies to the fore. You know, mainly what that more to start bringing that into fruition. But then these, it's gotten puffed up, and that's kind of how that everyone's also buying into that image. They're looking at Esau like, oh, this guy has really got that, that level. Who can contend with him? But it's something that's been granted onto him, and that's what Eve buys into as well. She's buying into like, yo, this guy's on such an ultimate level. They're looking to get into it. You mentioned like the middle class chicks. A lot of them, it's like once there's a lot of people that get a taste of the middle class, they're then trying to shoot for up. They're trying to get up there. They're gonna be going to whatever meetings they need to go to. When there's weird, there's all kind of funky shit going down. They'll still be there, just kind of messing with it, because they'll just be like, "Fuck it, well, I need to get up in there. Once I'm in there, then it's like I'm set. Make sure my kids go to the right school." But that's you're buying into a false image, because these are all things. You deal with the prime ministers, with various different like levels of businessmen and whatnot. They'll all go to Eton. They'll go to like whatever unit they go to, and then they'll be in basically looking after each other. I think it's nepotism is the term, right? Where they'll basically look after their own. So it's fixed. You ain't gonna be able to squeeze in unless you're already set up in a certain kind of level, man. I don't know if you might know, there's an episode of The Simpsons where they start going, like the Simpsons start going to the country club, and then they're basically trying to nice up to all the well-to-do people from Springfield. But then it's like over time they're just like, they're having to squeeze too much. They basically realize they're not even being themselves when they're going up in there. So they just dead the whole thing. And that's how most people are. They'll try and get up there. I'll read a tiny bit more. So it says, "They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God, but thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Most High Power." But yeah, it's with Esau, that's how his end's gonna be. Because even with like what people are going to be getting, the MOTB, they're going to be basically looking like, I want to get down with. They're looking at Esau like he's going to go on forever. The brother read it. They're thinking about Esau's going to be established. He ain't going anywhere. But that's it. The reality is you're basically tying yourself down to a sinking ship. That's true. And it's as far as even for the elites, the present structure of society. They're not thinking about keeping this thing going. The brother mentioned the Georgia Guidestones. They're thinking about culling.
That's right. I've got something. This is Isaiah 14 or something, verse 12. And it reads, "How about falling from heaven, O Lucifer?" Lucifer goes into being light bearer, man. Right? And these elites of Esau, they may have some knowledge, but they project a false beacon of light, man. Because they keep people clouded and ignorant. It says, "O Lucifer, son of the morning, how about cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations," man. Esau is the great colonizer, they call him that. Even in flipping Black Panther, they call him the colonizer, but it's true. Yeah, he's the one that's gone to every country, every continent in the planet, and is in one way, form, or shape has destroyed those people and their culture. Right? You can do a simple Google search and put up European colonization, and you see the whole globe is being influenced or colonized by Esau, especially through violence, man. Right? And it reads, "For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of a congregation in the sides of the north." And just like you kind of read over there, Esau's got like a God complex, man. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be exalted. He wants to be reverenced by everyone to look up to him. Oh, he's the greatest doctor. Or like, let's say a Jake from in Africa. Let's say he studied there and he's good and versed in his maybe like studying in technology and that. If he comes to a European country, no, we don't accept that. We don't accept that certificate. No, you got to do it our way. You know that. Come on, it's bullshit, man. And you got Jakes there in Africa making generators out of nothing, man. Come on, bruv. It's ridiculous. But also, you know, Esau setting up his space stations and stuff like that. He had Donald Trump. Was it last year or the year before?
So the Space Force.
The Space Force and stuff like that. Why? Because they know there's a coming threat. Yeah? There's a coming threat. The Lord is about to return. And it's verse 14. "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." See? He wants to play God. No? Esau's very blasphemous, man. Which is very dangerous. "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit." You're going to be brought down to a lower state, man. America is going to be destroyed. You know? "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, but did shake the kingdoms?"
Yeah, man. And this is the thing, man. It was reason which got a view earlier on in the week. You know, saw it, you know, once again all over this week. I mean, here it is. You got this devil, man. This piece of shite. And it's funny because we look at him like a piece of shite, but the Lord has given them power over the earth, and people look at him and hold him in high esteem, man.
Yeah.
I was telling the bro the story, like I was out, what do you call it? I was out, you know, further south from here in like Surrey areas, just all up bare Elam, right? You know, just dealing with these Edomites, man, right? Burying his seed, and you just there like, right? You let that ski up all in you, but that's that image that the Lord has allowed to be put on that man for the time being. But guess what? The Lord is taking that away, right? You know, and it's beautiful because right now Esau can't do anything without shameful spewing being upon his glory, man. Right? You know, like the whole psyop of Andrew Tate and all of that shit. People was like, but wait there, what about Epstein's clients? Right? You know, tries to talk about the whole Qatar situation. People was like, but wait there, y'all are like going into other people's countries and telling them what to do. But look at all of the wickedness that you've done.
Yeah.
Right? So the Lord has got that spirit in the world right now, and then long may it continue.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got a precept on what the brother just said concerning these wicked elites and Esau.
I got something after.
This is 2 Corinthians 11:14. "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." So like the brother's saying, you know, Esau's got this image about him now, right? That he's, you know, holy, he's righteous, you know, he's to be followed. And that's why you have all these other nations basically bowing to him, man. Brown nosing him, you know, because he's got the power, you know, and he's gone around deceiving the whole world and making everybody believe that he's the people of the Bible, that he's the Lord, you know, through Renaissance art, you know, which is iconoclasm, which is destruction of images. So he's put that a false perception out there, and people think that he's a god, man. But he's going to be brought down, like the brother was reading. You know, all the eyes are going to be narrowly looking on him, being like, "Is this the man? Is this really him?" All that power in the earth, you know, that shook kingdoms with ICBM missiles, that had us all wearing masks in our houses.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be looking at him as he is, man, and they're going to get their licks. They're going to get their licks.
By yourself.
That's how you know Esau did a number on the people.
It's like one of the copies when you're in a building and you ask to eat, you can take off your mask, but then if you walk around, you got to put on your mask. But it's like, you're still in the same air, man.
Yeah, it's bugged out.
We ain't going into no airtight like chamber or nothing.
which they even they came out. You remember during the thing, the thing, people, the restaurants have like the glass perspex.
Yeah.
And then apparently it came out that fucked up the airflow, so it actually made it even worse. But it was a psychological operation, just like the brother was saying. Like most people be like, but wait there, like so what? If I sit down, it's okay. If I stand up, all of a sudden it activates. Like, what are you talking about?
The germs like, hold on, wait, he's got a mask. Hold on, come on, man. It makes no sense.
You want more of those?
That was it.
Isaiah 14 and 9, it says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. If raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? And that's how the heathen are going to be looking at Esau, because like brother mentioned, we see Esau as he is. We basically had the film taken off of where, how he's perceived. So we're seeing him as he is. That's why it's like, you already see like what we're messing with. And the worst is when I hear these guys having conversations, and I'm like, bro, the shit these women are laughing at. I'm just like, bro, I was like, was that a joke to you? Like, was that using? I was like, bro, you're basically
You're conquered.
You're
I've got something on that. It says Isaiah 25:7, and you will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. Right? You agree with it?
Yeah, that covering, man. That's part of Esau, how he basically has everyone wandering after his image, man, following after. That's why everyone, when they're, as far as for, forms of success, what they're trying to accomplish on the earth, they're trying to emulate what Esau has, man. They're trying to emulate his system. They're trying to emulate, his financial systems, his technologies, his ways of life. These are all the things they're looking at, like, oh, if Esau does it, it must be the cutting edge of existence. But that's something that's going to be thrown off to where they'll then be able to see and be like, hold on, we really walking around, making little girls chop their titties off, and making men and chop their willies off, like, and then saying, that's the opposite. Like, of course not. That's when you see is like, what the fuck, it was complete madness.
I got something. Ezekiel 28:2, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power Yahweh, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of the Most High, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man, and not God. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Right? And that seems to justify it. Yeah, you're wise. Esau's wise. The Heavenly Father gave him the blessing of technology and the smarts to basically execute that technology. That's why we're seeing great leaps and bounds in tech, in the past, 50 years or so.
It's like post-World War II.
Yeah. Technology's just it's gone into hyperdrive, man. High speed, what they do when they, in space, and they say, we're going to go into hyperdrive. That's what happened, warp speed. So everyone's like, wow, this man, no, but it's for one purpose and one purpose alone. For you to arrive at that day of your destruction, man.
That's right.
The technology is just advancing to make superior forms of ICBMs.
Yeah.
But it's just a ripple effect. Exactly. You get other forms of technology that to benefit. It's not the technology that we have around now, it's the ICBM. Because all this stuff is just, it's offshoots.
Yeah. Because to back you on that, it's all of those things that we have today took a lot of money to research. Right now, who has endless has basically a blank checkbook? The military has, right? So when you even look at how the internet was that we have nowadays came about. It actually started off as 3 separate projects, right? But one of them was DARPA.
Yeah,
Right.
it
It was DARPA because just you know, basically simply was like if you had back in the days, you know, you had like a switchboard, if you will, where like you call that guy and there's someone in the middle and it goes to that guy. But then it was like, oh wait, then what happens if the person in the middle, the station in the middle gets blown up? We still need to be contact the other guys, so they created a web so that it could be routed one way or another, despite it one being taken out. So there you have your basic internet.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just, you know,
I've got a precept.
is it a quick one?
Quick one.
Okay, bro.
This is Revelation 6 and verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword.
was funny, or even funny, because with that sword, the brother mentioned the technology. It's kind of like there's a game Civilization, and they have like a tech tree, and they separate it. Like the main thing that will separate later down the technology line is what comes out. So it'll be the atomic age, then it'll be like the nuclear age, then information age. Because it's basically like from atomic technology, like the atomic bomb, then a bunch of stuff got found. Then after, you know, nuclear bomb, then a bunch of other things got developed off it, of certain technologies. Like then you have a capability, like things develop, and it's all linked back to that sword. That's the real blessing Esau got, as far as like his like military technology wise, he's the most developed. Because even with the let the weak say I'm strong, all the other nations, the heathen nations, they weren't messing with nukes for a minute.
Yeah.
It was only after Esau opened it up, that's when you had them man getting it. The Soviets basically, well, Lord of War kind of goes into it. After the Soviet Union, that man off the books selling a bunch of shit. That's why you get North Korea. That's why you get Iran. That's why you get like different countries where like India, Pakistan getting nukes.
Brick nations.
Yeah. It's kind of then that, but that was the spirit as well.
Yep.
I got a quick one after
Real quick, just on what you're saying, because that's they said with the whole Ukraine situation that they can only, and this is what I believe was on mainstream, but they can only account for 30% of the weaponry that they're sending them. So it's like, what's happening to the other 70? Man, it's going on the black market.
Yeah. That's what Victor, they needed him
Yeah,
out, man.
Victor.
They got Victor
yeah.
back, man. They Lord of War out there. Then I've been doing a photo shoot with Nicolas Cage and shit.
Yeah.
He's good, yeah.
Cool.
Straight.
Pretty circle time on the point you made about the stages of technology like nuclear weapons and stuff like this. So Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. Yeah, so like you might see in the movies like 300 or the regular wars people are accustomed to of ancient warfare. You know, face to face, close combat, sword slashing, spears, bow and arrow, everything you can think of, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what people are accustomed to. But this generation is going to come to this, and it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So this is definitely a prophecy of the end times, because the warfare that is going to the war to end all wars, you know, World War III, which in the scriptures it says that the third war cometh quickly. It's going to be nuclear fire, and you can tell by how, like brothers mentioned, how technology has increased so advanced and rapidly. You know, the use of atomic bombs, ICBMs, missiles that can travel to different continents,
Hypersonic missiles,
all of that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
now
saying?
hypersonic's the new thing.
which is they obviously they mastered the art of, oh, we don't have to fly up into the upper atmosphere. We could just keep it. I believe it's below the. I can't remember how they worded it, but keep it at a certain level and go at Mach 5 speeds. It won't break the barrier, but no one can detect it.
Wow, look at that.
So they basically formulated, so they've been playing with it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, working out there's better ways to deal with the technology.
That's right. Even laser beams, which is concentrated fire as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Rail guns.
Well, we had what is it? They call it Havana syndrome. The microwave guns.
yeah.
Mhm.
And there was a warfare a couple like last year or so.
Well,
where
that
you kept in the news.
that's been going on for years.
Yeah.
Because it's like they'll just say, oh, people getting struck down with headaches, nausea, and
And when
whatnot.
when they say where it is, it'll be what they call
Cuba.
it? No, embassies.
Embassy,
There'll be embassies. It'll be
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
embassy got attacked by a virus.
Yeah, well, yeah. Wow.
So there's a warfare, covert warfare going on where they're going tit for tat. Yeah, you got we're gonna fry your brains as well.
Even on a global scale though, it's like all of these devices that are around us, you know, the flashing frame rates and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the things that we watch. Like the brother Shkal posted the thing in the chat a couple of days ago of the LED gun. Like this devil made a gun of lights where like the way it flashes basically incapacitates you. Right, but then they goes into things like how that's why they say you shouldn't use devices after a certain time because it fucks up with your sleep patterns and all of that shit. He still knows all of these things, man. Right, and that's why from a young he glues children onto these devices so that basically their minds are fried, man. No attention span, having
GMO babies. Yeah.
I remember those like a few years back, maybe 7-8 years back, those like I think it was in the UK, there were pilots where they were getting lasers shone in their eyes when they were trying to take off, and then guys got thrown in jail for that.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I think you could order the shot like from China or from eBay or whatever and get it, and it'll be so strong that it's like he's in a field off somewhere there, just flashing it in the eyes of the pilot, and the shit's fucking him up enough to where he can't even drive. So that shit's deadly. Because I'm just like, bro, it's like, imagine that just overloading your brain. Then it's just like, you're through. What the hell can you even do? That's what's that movie, man? A Clockwork Orange, man.
I got more on thingy.
Ezekiel.
Yeah, Ezekiel 28:4. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches. So a good way to put it now is with the algorithm, with the cache of data they accumulate from the internet. They build up profiles. That's what I'm looking for. They build up profiles on your personality. What they formulate, they get down to a certain number where they say these are the X amount of profiles anyone can have in the world, and they formulate it and they tailor it. So then, what do they do after that? They tailor make an algorithm to figure out a way to utilize that data to make money. Then they send it to another company and say, look, we have this information, pay us this amount, and it goes on and on. A basic one is the music industry, because you have artists now, they can get their masters, they know about all this type of stuff. But guess what? You can have your masters, but you don't know how to, you don't have the links to use it. Now, a record company, they're integrated into the industry, they have all the connections. So they're going to be able to make money. So that's where it's a system designed for them to benefit and advance.
If I come back, your low-level version of that is mainstream media, right? In the sense that I want you to use the example you just gave, because it's the same way how mainstream media can make a story and cannot make a story. All over mainstream media, the whole circle of Andrew Tate was on it. But they spoke nothing about they spoke nothing about how the CIA has now been officially implicated in the murder of JFK, right? Then also the whole thing about how JP Morgan is being sued by whatever country that was, that where Epstein Island was, because that country was like, yo, you basically were letting him do this. Virgin Islands, they sued him. They're suing JP Morgan. Once again, the mainstream doesn't want that information out, so they're not pushing it. It's the same way with the algorithms, right? And as such that they're able to use those algorithms to manipulate a person to become a particular way, right?
They'll bring that out in like Project Veritas when they were doing like the interviews with the people from Google, basically having them admit, like, because I think it was during the they were talking about the election with Trump and Hillary and saying like, oh yeah, we were making sure that, you know, certain, you know, Trump wasn't getting emphasized on this level and Hillary was getting emphasized more. So that's, you know, with those political things, but then it's with, you know, shadow bans, blacklisting, these other things. Certain things you search, you might get flagged, and they'll be like, okay, we're going to channel you. But then the thing, like the brother mentioned, with controlling your thought patterns, that's a big part of how they utilize it. Because that's why you have now the omega form, the final form of that is with TikTok, where you don't even get to browse. You might be able to subscribe to someone and check their shit, but it's like generally, I ain't using shit. Someone told me, like when you go on, you just get shown shit, and then you have to like and then dislike, and then it'll get to know you over time, to where it'll show you shit you want. So you don't even browse, and like that's why it's like even YouTube Shorts, they try and do the same thing, where it's like I watch one or two that'll be there. Then it'll just skip down to the next one, and the next one's just some completely unrelated random shit. And it was just keep going, and it was just like, so now it's just pure algorithm.
Done that to me as well. Like I'm looking at something super specific,
and they'll just show you.
And then go random. I have to jump off and then go back to the trail, and then watch it and continue.
You also,
I got more.
Okay, I got something as well.
Just to finish on it. So it says verse 6, therefore thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, go therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, to terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. So that's what's going to happen, man. These nations are being empowered for a reason, right? When you read the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, it tells you that Lord basically made these nations strong for one purpose and one purpose only. That's right. To gather you to the valley of decision, the valley of Yahweh Shabbat, the right decision, Most High's judgment, and basically exterminate one another, man. That's it.
I'll go a quick one. Isaiah 29:10. For the Lord, verse 9, it says, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord Yahweh hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and hath closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers hath he covered. And that's why, these things we're discussing, as far as the impact of these algorithms, the impact of how Esau's utilizing all that wisdom that he's got. Most people they're not thinking about it on a deep level, because why? Their eyes have been covered, man. They've basically been cut off from where they're even able to see or understand. That's why you could even explain it to someone, and they'll just be like, yeah, right, because why? As far as for them, they're looking at like, okay, yeah, this, these guys are, he's just a conspiracy theorist. That's a funny thing, because there's one girl at work I was talking to. We've been chopping up for like, I don't know, I've worked with her like 2 or 3 times before, like 10 7-hour shifts. So we've been spoken to each other for like 30, 40 hours. Then she asked me, it's like, oh, did you get the jump shot? And I said, no. And she was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, I don't want to talk about it. I was like, hold on. I thought we were having a conversation there. Like, what's going on? It's like, now you just asked me that. You didn't even ask no follow-up question. You didn't do no investigating. And you just like, oh no, he's one of those. I'm like, hold on. I was like, what? I was like, you okay there? Like, we're gonna have we're gonna discuss this before you just think this guy's a lunatic. But that's that's how much it's like, how much of impact it's had. They've been on social media where it's basically been like, that's been your badge of honor. So
it's like, they actually gave people stickers. Like when I actually stopped on, when children, they go to the dentist, they get given a gold star. Esau actually gave them stickers like they're 2-year-olds, man. It's insane.
I've got 3 seconds. I've got a quick one for you. People are messed up out here, man. This is Isaiah 60. I'll start from 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So yeah, it's a blessing for the brothers that's in this truth, man. For those that have the knowledge, the spirit, the elect in the faith, man, because that's being seen, the wisdom, like brothers, didn't take none of the shots, none of those things. And the Lord has kept a headshot of us, man, from being messed up from those things, man. People been seeing the things you've been saying coming to pass. A lot of these people are still walking on in gross darkness, man.
Yeah.
Ignorance.
Because even say certain of those didn't come into pass, and this one was quite a personal one, but it was even out there in on mainstream. Basically, you hear in the UK you've got BBC, in America you've got ABC, but in Korea you've got a KBS, Korean Broadcast System. On their news, straight up, they had people on there just being like, "Yo, this thing has been killing people, man." Right? And then those people that had taken the thing just had to eat that, right? Like I said, this was an equivalent of it being on BBC News, right? They had all the people crying, my son, holding the pictures and all of that.
But that's the thing is to engage with. That's a level of simplicity. They think it's like the brother always mentioned, the soul. Like they think dealing with Esau's sister, they're getting all the benefits. But then it's the other things, because it's like even with a lot of them, like most people that are getting jacked up, what is it? Their lifestyle anyway. The way they've been living, they'll be overweight, they have other health complications. Those things are the great issues. Because like, as far as these guys saying, oh, they got heart issues, they got this issues. I'm like, bro, it's like, what the fuck do you expect? Your body's in a complete...
You're through.
Bro, you're through is all hell, man.
I've got something.
I think it's supposed to one more.
The verse 3.
Oh, did you read too?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll read it. I'll read it again. It says, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people.
Yeah, and Esau's got this world in a thick cloud of darkness, man. Right? But the Lord, through starting off the apostle down, he's got that spirit of truth in this world. Right? Read was 2 Ezra 6:26, for truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall flourish, man. Right? That's going to be fully, set in the kingdom, but it's starting now. Right? It's been starting. Right?
It says, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So that's the point. So,
I've got something on the interaction you had with that woman you mentioned. This is 2 Corinthians 6:14. Be you not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion have light with darkness? So guess what? There's a battle of spirits happening in the spiritual realm. So the people that are, that took the jump shot and stuff like that, they're looking at the people that didn't take the jump shot as like, wow, you guys are crazy lunatic demons.
I want to add to that. I think a lot of them, you get the ones that are fully indoctrinated. But a lot of them, I think, are just hoping that they're wrong. They're just like, oh, you're crazy. Shit, I hope it's not right.
They're messed up. That's what Morpheus was saying, that they're so hopelessly dependent on the system. That
they'll fight to protect. That's what this guy's. Because most people, it's like because that's why it's like afterwards I kind of broke down the defenses and explained it to her, and then she had to eat it. Then it's like the process of next thought is like, the fuck did I take it from? Then if any complications come up, then you're just like, what the fuck? You might find out 10 years down the line you can't have no kids. Then you're gonna be fucking mortified.
Miscarriages have been skyrocketing, right, and all of that. When you look at the data, it's actually bad. It's actually quite bad.
And it's the thing where it's just like we mentioned with with the masks, with the social distancing, all these things. They said, okay, you have to do this, sanitize your hands, don't go see grandma. They said they're saying, bro, it's like, a bunch of old people died of fucking, depression and shit. Because they couldn't see their grandkids or their family.
Loneliness actually kills.
Yeah.
It's not even like a saying. It kills.
It's-
It
it's
physically
actually-
kills.
Or stress,
Yeah.
Yeah.
increases stress and stress kills.
So then that's like all those things were becoming evident.
Mm.
But then it's only now it's been said. It's like, okay, who's going to take responsibility for that?
Yeah.
And then how much more so with you said the jump shot?
Yeah.
It's like all that. It's like what? Who's doing the research? Most people. And it's funny because they talk about how effective it is. Now they said, remember when I was saying, you take it, you won't even get sick again. Then it's like, you take it, you're covered for like, the next 9 months. Now they're saying it might last for like 3 months. And then it's like, it gets down to a couple of weeks. And it's just like, what are you even doing it for?
Yep.
You're risking all that. For what?
Quick one. Okay, 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Did I just read that? Oh no. I didn't read that.
We read that before.
Yeah.
Read it before.
Yeah. For real.
Yes. Yeah, though these are all part of Satan's which are called devices, man. We can't be ignorant of it. One of the things we all have to be masters of is critical thinking, man. Right? Because Esau will constantly be, providing things, and it's always a thing of like, okay, what's the angle? Right? Because Esau controls, that's what gets people. You get your Trumps, people think, Trump is anti-establishment. No, Trump is the establishment. Right? How can a billionaire be anti-establishment?
He's gone bankrupt and got help. It's like, what's going on?
Same with over here, you had that guy Nigel Farage. He was a man of the people. A man speaks like a posh twat, looks like a posh twat, and is a multi-millionaire. Right? So all of these different quote unquote saviors that Esau sends and gives people, right? They're all part of his devices, and Esau's going to use them people once again, right, to push this MOTB, right? Which ultimately that's what we hope is going to start coming in this year, man. Right? Because Esau's is twiddling his thumbs. Like, it feels like some time, but that's what the scriptures say. We hasten the day. We hasten the day that the Lord is going to come and take this man out.
I've got a piece of. You got sense. Where you go first?
It says Habakkuk 2 and 14. It says, "For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, but puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on his nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. For the cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." So yeah, that's part of that. We're talking about with we're talking about with the MOTB, talking about with the jump shots. These are all things that people have basically been they've been given that wine to drink. They've been made drunken off the idea of and it was mainly using fear. I remember seeing them not see a granny saying like, to kids, say don't go see granny because you might kill granny. I'm like, bro, it's like man's like 4 years old. It's like, what the hell are you gonna do with that knowledge? Like, like what are you accomplishing there?
Yes, didn't want it.
And then it's like even going out for walks and people getting fined for going for a walk when it's now been found out that didn't do shit. Like, when you can get a refund, like what's going on?
The worst yet, there was something that came out which was basically saying any form of exercise, any form helps lower your chances of dropping dead. But once again, we're just there like, duh.
Yeah. That's all these shit, but that's why it's like, common sense, and that's why it was a psyop. Because common sense went out the window. It's basically overriding it with what? Now, you're basically you just gonna adhere to what the system says, or you're gonna, use your brain and your eyes and kind of realize like this don't make no fucking sense. But that's why it's like most people, they ran with it. And then what happened? End up with might drop dead, might have got some form of ailment, They must have.
Pole posing.
Stroke.
Fruit. And it's like they might even be fine for the minute, but if they're gonna be that same mindset will have them jump for the MOTB, and then what? There's fruit.
Precept back up on what you read in Corinthians. This is Ephesians 5 and verse 15. See then that you walk circumspectly.
Maybe start a verse up with them.
Yeah.
What does 14 say?
It reads, wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepeth.
Yeah,
Sleepest, yeah, go on.
and when you go into sleep, where Prince you above alluded it in the verse that you read as well, is that spiritual sleep, man. For instance, in other precepts, it speaks about being spiritually dead. Proverbs 21:16 comes to mind, right? So basically, we're being told, wake up, man, right?
It kind of says, and arise from the dead, and Yahushua Mashiach shall give thee the light. Yeah, because the scripture you quoted, those that wandered away,
Those that wander out of the way of understanding shall remain in
the congregation of dead. So people are literally, what do you say, the term, what, dead men walking? They're like the Undertaker or the Walking Dead. That's what people are, man. They're lost in the source, that gross darkness, as you read. People are in ignorance, man.
meatbags.
Yeah, that's right. And it says, see then that you walk circumspectly. When you break it down to two words, circum, like circumference or round, circular, and spect, like to see. So we've got to look around yourself, man. You've got to see what's going on. You've got to see the prophecies, how it is linking up with the scriptures. Otherwise, if you get lax and if you relax, you can get caught up, man. It's dangerous out here.
You got people that say, "Oh, I don't want to watch the news.
Yeah,
It's too depressing."
That's the spirit of the people, man.
And they're in a deep sleep.
Exactly.
That is the most stupidest thing ever. If
Yeah,
there's information you need to know that's going to save your life,
Yeah.
and you're just looking the other way because of your feelings.
Yeah.
That's the people, man.
Or I'll deal with it when it comes. All that spirit. Okay. Well, it's gonna come in full force, man. It's gonna be a rude awakening. And it says, not as fools.
Oh, I'll go a quick one.
Oh, right.
It says Romans 11:8. It says, according as it is written, the Most High hath given unto them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day.
Wow. Go ahead.
Yeah, and David said, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back forward. Yeah,
that's right. So they're actually spiritually blocked. Their ears are fattened, they're blinded in the eyes. So they're not awoken to this truth. They're not awoken to the actual reality, man. They're not awoken to the prophecies of the scriptures. So, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? Lord, we're for the elect. The mysteries of the kingdom is known unto us, man. The knowledge of salvation. But to the rest of these people, they're blinded, man. And even 2/3 of our own people. But anyways, back in Ephesians 5 and verse 15, see that you walk circumspectly, not as fools. Yeah, like what you mentioned. People that say, I don't want to watch the news. It's always bad news. Yeah, you're a fool because you're not taking account the knowledge that you need. You know what I'm saying? To know what times you're living in.
It's literally walking around just aimless, man. Like, the amount of times I've told people stuff that's happening in their own country, and they're like, "Bro, how do you not know this?"
Yeah, come on, bro.
It was the time, for instance, no, it's not true, but hey, it's perplexing. It's like,
it's confusing because I've had that where I've been like, oh yeah, I mentioned something back in like something that happened like either in the US to a girl from the US, and it's just like, oh really? I was like, yo, I give up, man. People out here ain't trying to pay attention to nothing.
It's ridiculous, man. Yeah, it says, as fools but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil, man. We're living in evil days, man. Yeah, evil days. So a lot of shit is happening, man. And you don't want to get caught up in that destruction and judgment, man. So you gotta walk circumspectly, man.
That's right.
I'll go a quick one. Just on what you said about, like if they can possibly be woken up. It says Ezekiel 37:3, and it says, and he said unto me, son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Most High Power, thou knowest.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
Hey, you see certain Jakes sometimes. I was also saying, you're honestly, you just be like, damn, can this phone live?
You're making it, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like that girl, that Jake at the moment, man, that's getting beaten up by his woman, man. The one, Rock, Sutton Rock is his woman, Sutton Rock.
Oh, this is my Blueface.
Blueface, yeah.
Sean Rock, yeah.
Yeah, him. I'm just looking, he's got both of them, man. These niggas, they through. Right? Those are dry bones, man.
Hollow, nothing like that.
Because even I think in the verse up, it was like, and then I saw Valley, it was full of bones. And they were very dry.
It's like, God damn. Just saw them just like the pants around the leg. Just through. It's like, damn.
Oh, man.
I got a quick one. This is Romans 13 and 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So that the brother's been mentioning, since the start when we opened up, we're in, 2023 now. We're going to start seeing more things going on, more prophecies rolling.
That's right.
So now we're the closest to the kingdom than we've ever been.
That's right. Every year.
And we're going to continue to say that, because that's a part of hastening the day, man. Desiring the day of the end, and the return of our Lord.
That's right.
So, hey, man, it's time to awake out of sleep, man.
That's
Get
right.
this truth.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you notice, like in these past few years, the spirit was about being quote unquote woke, but these people are still asleep because they're part of the agenda. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because that whole term and mindset got co-opted anyway.
Yeah.
The way it just became like it's basically just used as an insult now.
Yeah.
Because it's like being woke. It's the performance, and that's what I mentioned. What's in the SBF Sam Bankman-Fried, that guy basically admitting it, and that's what mostly like a lot of these things they do. They do it. It's like with Jake. Like, bro, we don't care about no goddamn blacks, man. Like, no one give a fuck about the blacks. It says that you'll be as a residue among the heathen. What is it?
Wearing a vessel has no pleasure.
Yeah, a vessel wherein I mixed it up. Because there's a residue among the heathen is a vessel wherein there's no pleasure. Yeah. Because Jake's basically gonna be what? That no one's taking pleasure in them, man. And that's the Jairus. You see what these Jakes be doing. You be looking like, God damn, like, yo, do I really share heritage with these monkeys, man? Like, God, you know what I'm saying? They should be in Africa swinging on trees, man. Moving like that. What's going on? But that's why it's a thing where those are the elect. Because through the elect, that's really how all this is going to come to pass. And then, as far as with Esau, like we mentioned multiple times, all his image, it's all going to be flipped back.
That's right.
You said you had something.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of date now, but I'll read it. This is Sirach 39 and 1. So, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. Right? Because he gave the example, you get people that say, why are you keeping up with the news? But no, you got to keep up with what's going on in the world, right? Because then, for instance, we're commanded in 2 Ezra 9 not to measure out the time diligently in itself, right? And the prophecies are a measuring stick for time, right? Because let's say all of the things that happened last year, all of the major deaths that happened last year didn't happen. I mean, for me, I've seen all of those people that I was like, right, this has to be Evelyn died. Evelyn died.
The Queen Evelyn,
Queen dropped
the
the
Pope,
The Pope,
yeah.
Like, made it.
He even made it. Like,
He was like, trying to hold out.
how powerful to himself.
God made the whole
he didn't make it.
He didn't make it. And that's bro. I saw the images of that guy. He still looks like a demon, man.
Yeah, come on.
That's it, man. But all of these things, all of these deaths, all of them, once again, like Evelyn died, man. This is the thing, and that event was just a reminder of just how small this circle is, because the rest of the world were kind of just like, oh yeah, Evelyn died, and then they carried on with their day. But in contrast, a few weeks before that, there was like, oh my God, Queen Elizabeth is dead, and that was rolling coverage for days on end. Yet these time, the actual, ruler of this world,
Yeah, those are the real kings.
the real kings of this world, right? One of them died, and then nothing was said really. He was just an advisor to the Queen.
And a
Wow.
banker or some shit.
Shows, man, they rule in secrecy, man.
That's
They
it.
rule in the darkness, man. Scripture says they say who see of us, who know of us.
Yeah. Because they know it's
Let
like,
me grab that.
they have certain advantages from ruling in the dark, but then it's the flip side of it as well. It's like who lights up a light and puts it under a bushel.
That's it.
These guys aren't shining light, man. They're emanating darkness, man. They're in the shadows. What are they spreading? Wickedness. Because as the true rulers, it's like with what do you call it? With the sexual deviancy that's on an uptick. That's something of what stems from them, man. That sex, man. Brother mentioned it earlier today. Well, yesterday, I guess.
This is Micah 2. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Right? And we read Job 9:24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Right? So the Lord has given this man the power over the earth, right, to have control over it and to do whatever it is, that the Lord ultimately wants him to do. Which is a key point as well, because this isn't what Esau wants to do of his own accord. This is what the Lord wants to do, man. And it says here, devise iniquity, what evil upon their beds, because they do all of these things in secrecy, right? They do all of these things in times when they think no one can see them, right? But everyone can see them. So those that are awake can see what it is they're doing, what it is they're planning, and more importantly, the angels see, right?
Go on. This is Revelations 12 and verse 11. It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. And just speaking on that point, that's how the elect are going to be delivered, man. It's through believing in Yahweh Shai, man. Right? Believing in Yahweh Shai, enduring in the faith, unto the end. That's how we're going to overcome all the works of darkness that Esau has planned, the MOTB, Jacob's trouble, all these things that these wicked elites are going to bring down, all the hell that's about to unload in this kingdom. The elect are going to overcome through Yahweh Shai, man. That's the only way. There's no bunkers, there's no bug out bags, no, anything carnal that's going to deliver you from this time that we're in, man, of great tribulation, right? Which I got, if I can read it, verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that ye have but a short time.
But the question is, why does he have a short time? Because he's being exposed. The truth has gone out there. The gospel is being preached to the four corners of the earth. Matthew 24 and something like that. Yeah. And guess what? Even the Lord has been using celebrities to push out the truth. Kanye West, he's Kyrie Irving and stuff like that.
Cannon.
Yeah, Nick Cannon. So you know what I'm saying. So this has created a ripple effect or domino effect where Jakes are showing interest to the truth, even though we've been saying it for years. Starting with the elders and apostles. But guess what? It's the truth is flourishing. So that Esau was like, oh shit, we should have never made the internet. Oh shit, we need to close this truth. Oh, we need to eventually just say we need to stop these guys in the corners, man. This truth is going too viral, it's too much. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's gonna bring that wrath. That's the Jacob's trouble. He's gonna be targeting Jake. Anyone that associates with being an Israelite, or anyone that associates with being an anti-chipper. Because remember that post that went out?
Oh yeah.
Esau's already cursing people out. That's thinking of not taking the CHIP. Already, do you know what I'm saying? So anyone that's against or rebelling Esau's agenda and society, or the image of the beast, he's targeting them, man.
Yeah, man. I got some. Just kind of going back to when we talk about the not watching the news thing. Isaiah 30:10 says, "Which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits." And that's the mindset. Prophesy deceits. Speak unto us smooth things. And that's why they're not gonna address the main thing with any of these so-called conspiracies that people have a hard time with is because for them, they don't like to acknowledge the thought of their government having any kind of malice towards them. Because why? Because they're basically just like, they ain't got no power in that situation. They'll get to that point and be like, okay, what can we do? And I'm like, bro, it's like, you gonna deal with the scriptures or not? Like, what's going on? Because if you're within Esau, you just keep it in Esau's realm, then it's like, yo, what can you do? But then that's you've chosen as your master. But they just want to keep it to where it's nothing but good times rolling. Despite it's only because as far as like the war in Ukraine, the conflict in Syria, the kids getting blown up in Yemen, these things are far away. When the most they're thinking about is they might be able to get some big round Ukrainian booty in their front room, and hopefully your husband gets blown up, man. That's all it means to them now. When it becomes a reality of like, okay, that you going hungry, there's nothing on the shelves. Someone might come into your house and bash your head in, so they can try and snatch what you got. That's when it's gonna be like, okay, maybe all them smooth things, what hair and all that for years on end wasn't the best idea.
Yep.
Because let the service for social media platform. Well, it's like we have the blackouts, man. Like when Twitter goes down, when YouTube goes down, when Instagram goes down for like 3-4 hours, people will be losing their minds, man. They'll get back and like, oh my god. I'm like, bro.
Meltdowns, yeah. I got signed. This is Ezekiel 33, and we from 1 to 5. It says, "Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people," and that's the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Hispanics, man. "Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring sword upon a land, if a people of a land take a man of a coast and set him for their watchman," what's a watchman? It's quite simple. A man that watches, man, that sees outside threats, enemy trying to invade, and they give warning unto the people. So that's what a prophets are supposed to do. The seer is supposed to do. You prophesy the scriptures and give you warning of what's to come, man, in the future, right? And for you to get right and repent unto the Lord. And it says, if when he seeth a sword come upon the land, he bloweth a trumpet. That trumpet is a sound. It's a sound of warning. And obviously, there's different sounds in the ancient world where it could be like maybe like a prince is arriving. You'll play a different type of music that sounds a bit more harmonious. But when there's a threat or invasion or war, there'll be a distinction in the sound where oh shit's about to go down. Just like I think one of the countries, I don't know if it was China, when there was a false alarm of a nuclear attack going over their land. This year, do you remember?
Japan.
Yeah, it was Japan, didn't it?
Yeah, North Korea.
Yeah.
I think it landed in the water.
It wasn't a false alarm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like But I think it was said they got about 30 minutes to dip or something like that. But so I can't remember yet, but they had like a time limit. Yeah, they got notification.
We're running for sure.
Exactly. So they had a warning and they was shook in their boots, man. You see that?
Which 30 minutes, it would have been minutes.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider how close them two countries are. I mean, it's what it takes, just a couple of minutes for one to go from Russia to the US.
North Korea. I remember it happened. People were like shook.
Bugging out,
shook to death.
Yeah, that's right. And it says, if when he seeth a sword come upon the land, he blow a trumpet and warn the people. So we're supposed to give warning unto the people through these scriptures. Then whosoever heareth the sound of a trumpet and taketh not warning, you know, I don't want to watch the news. I can see the Hebrew Israelites in my YouTube feed and suggestions and recommendations. I watch that later, especially the time during the lockdown. Jake's had a lot of time to watch the videos. You have no excuse, man. Rules up in your feeds. You found us away. All you keyboard warriors were scoffing. All right, but now you're going to face that judgment.
That's what it says in Second Ezra's, you know, who works, they had liberty, despised my law, right? Which liberty goes into basically freedom, right? And, you know, I suppose going into that was a very, over here in the UK, you basically had two years almost of paid time off. Right? A lot of people had 2 years of paid time off, so no one can say, oh, I didn't have enough time. It's like, no, you did. Like, you did.
That furlough check, innit?
Yeah.
That check.
Come on, bro. Ridiculous. And it says, verse 4, but whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if a sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. Yeah, because you received the warning, but you didn't act upon the warning. You didn't choose to repent. You didn't seek the Lord where he may be found, as the scripture says. You were like, fuck this, man. Don't worry about this later. I still got time. Let me do my thing. Let me carry on building my business. I've got 5-year, 10-year ambition plans. But guess what? You're gonna get taken away, man. And your plans too. And last verse 5. He heard the sound of the trumpet, and took not the warning. His blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take that warning and repent, you know, and seek the Lord. Lord willing that we be delivered, man, if we endure in this path, man. That's what it's all about, man.
So, I've got one. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. You know, and that's what a lot of our people, you know, fail to do, man. They're not remembering Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. A lot of them, you know, they're not in the right mindset. They're dragging their feet towards repentance. They don't want to do the righteousness. You know, they want to, like the brother read, they want to smooth things, the buttery doctrines, you know, things that just sound good. There's going to be no time of Jacob's trouble, as some people teach, which is, you know, false doctrine, man. You know, but that sounds good to hear. Oh, you mean you're just going to get beamed up into the kingdom and there's no troubles? That's what the scriptures is letting you know. Wait, the evil days are coming, man. You know, so that's why we preach repentance, you know, return to the Lord through this truth while you can. Because those evil times are coming, man. You've seen all the protests throughout this whole year about the living crisis, you know, cost of living, you know, the cold winters, you know, all these types of, you know, inflation, the money, the pound dropping, and all of these things happening. Where do you think that's leading to, man? It's leading to times of tribulation. It's going to get worse, man, especially now we're in this year. Things are going to go bad to worse, man, real soon.
So Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. And that's straight into the point, man, because ultimately that's what it's going to come down to. Just you know, the Lord set up the trial run of the CV and the jump shot, right? And wisdom told us, nah, this is all BS, right? Knowledge told us this is all BS. And the spirit was like, yo, don't trust this devil, man, right? This man is certainly planning to do something by way of those shots. And lo and behold, we're starting to see that now, right? We're also seeing what trusting in the Lord does. Because those that basically just trusted Esau, you know, shot that juice all up in them. They're now, you know, feeling the effects, man.
That's it. I got another one. This is Isaiah 65:13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. You know, so that's the reward, man, and the benefits of knowing Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, being in this truth, worshiping the Lord, right? Because, it said that what ye shall be ashamed, ye shall be hungry. Who's that? That's those that didn't repent and come into the truth, man. Those that were taking this, for a joke, those that were scoffing against the word. But Proverbs 13:13, they that despise the word shall be destroyed.
That's
So
right.
really, they were laughing at us for being out there in what they call bummy garments with signs looking all crazy, shouting and whatever. But really, the joke's going to be on them again. Because I just read it. We're going to be the ones that are going to be fed, looked after.
Yeah.
Good Lord willing, we be those men of the Lord, man. That's what we're in this for.
We're gonna have the last laugh, yes.
I've got a contrast to what you just said, because that was a reward of, one of the rewards of the righteous, but this is the reward of the wicked. Psalm 91:8, so only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, which is ultimately their demise, man. Right, we're going to sit in, for instance, when you read Revelation 15, where it speaks about sitting on the sea of glass, which is referring to the firmament, right, watching as America gets destroyed, man. Right, that's part of the reward. Well, that's the key reward of the wicked, man. The wicked of our people, and then also the wicked of all those heathens. Well, not wicked, but all of those heathens that are in that land, right? Because basically, if you're not of the elect of Israel and you're in the land of America, you're through, right?
That's right.
I got another one. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6. I'll start from verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? All right, and that's why it's important to look at the signs, right? As we open up with Matthew 24, right? The disciples were inquiring, what's going to be the sign? What's going to signal the time we're in? That we know that the Lord is going to return and that these heathens are going to go down and Israel's going to come up. Israel's going to be ruling, right? How are we going to know which time is from which? It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. And that shows you they went back to Genesis, right? Where, this is all really, its origins is coming from, right? And who did they mention? Jacob and Esau, the two main characters, the two main nations or people in these last days that are going to go head to head.
Right.
All right, and it said Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, right, which is symbolic of Jacob pulling these Edomites out of power, man, overtaking the nation of Esau, Edom, coming into rulership. That's what is going to happen. Okay, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So what does that mean? That means, because we are living in the last days, right? So that means the Edomites have to be ruling, man. So Vocab Malone doesn't know what he's talking about. Talking about the Edomites are done away with. No, they exist right now, man. You are one of them, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Joe Biden, the people you see, these so-called white men you see in their suit and ties, these elites, these Amalekites, these small hats, these are the rulers of the earth, man. These are the Edomites, Esau, man. Yeah.
So prosper in the world.
That's right, they're prospering in the world. They're the rich man, man. Go on.
It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
That's right. So Jacob is going to rule after the demise of the Edomites, man, through the spirit and power and intervention of the Lord, man, and the holy angels, man. Which they put in their movies like Independence Day, right? But however, the real Independence Day in the scriptures is us getting delivered, man. The Israelites get delivered, and America getting destroyed. Because they show you in the movies that America always wins, man. But that's not so in the scriptures, right? Go on. And also proves that land of America is cursed, because every destruction movie or apocalypse movie is always targeting America, man. So they even know. Go on.
That was the point of that.
Yeah. Or should we close it? Last scripture as well.
I want this point, so I'm gonna.
I got one quick one.
I can read it.
Just a real quick one. Just because the brother was mentioning Independence Day, so I got a scripture. A quick one. This is Revelation 11:12. It says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Right? So yeah, that's, you know, when you're gonna get delivered, man. You know, that cloud represents a chariot, you know, the so-called UFOs. You know, the elect are gonna get beamed up into those clouds, man. Right? Those that continue in the faith, you know, that stood boldly, where the scripture says, then that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord, right? Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, they're going to be delivered, right? In front of the nations, our enemies beheld us. So they're going to watch, you know, the deliverance in this time, man. Mainly from America, you know, and then the brothers that's been scattered all over, you know, the world. You know, that deliverance is coming soon.
I've got something, you got that?
No.
Yeah, okay. This is Revelations 19 from 11. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, man. Yeah. A white represents a pure, and horse represents a power, man. Yeah. And it's talking about a chariot, a flying vehicle, man. What the world calls was UAPs and UFOs, aerial phenomena and unidentified flying objects, but we identify them, man, because we know them in the scriptures. Yeah, but to you people of the world, you don't know, right? And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So this is going into what people would depict in the movies Independence Day, man. Yeah, the final judgment of America about to be destroyed, right? And chaos going around the whole world. His eyes was a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. What was that talking about? That's symbolic of him subduing the earth, man. Yeah, taking everybody's power and titles when the Lord comes back, man. It's like if anybody into like a combat sports like UFC or boxing, you know, you got different boxing, what do they call it? Boxing sanctioning bodies and stuff like that, like WBO, WBC, and all that stuff. When a boxer wins the belts and collects all of them, he becomes undisputed. It's undeniable that he is the champion of that division, pound for pound. Yeah. So the Lord's gonna show you that he's the champion on this earth, man. And the earth was given to him. And it says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. That's one of his titles, man. He's the Word. He's the walking Word, man. The Word made flesh. In the book of John. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, you know, the chariots clothed in fine linen, white and clean, right? And that's what you see in Independence Day. We even got a picture over there, the chariot there, beaming up a brother. But yeah, you're gonna see chariots scattering around, delivering the elect, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans scattered around the earth in America. Right, and also zapping people to death, zapping heathens, zapping Edomites, and even zapping the wicked of our own people. Yeah, that follow the beast. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. It's that main that main beam of the chariot. That with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the Almighty power. And he having his vesture on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. You know, the scripture talks about, you know, the Lord's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Every knee shall bow, basically, roughly paraphrasing. Every tongue shall confess that he's the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, man. You know, everybody's going to witness the presence of the Lord. You're going to feel it. You're going to smell it. You're going to see it. All senses of your being is going to witness the Lord, man. It's going to be inescapable. But that's it. Yeah, that's the judgment of the Lord. That's what the movie directors got from the scriptures, you know, to make the film Independence Day. But in the scriptures, the Lord wins, the Israelites win, America gets destroyed, man. Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it's 2023.
Yep.
We'll find out what the year is. And yeah, it's we're almost out here, man. This is all, it's wrapping up. It's been nothing but like we've gone over the year, man. There's things I forgot what happened. It's been a mad year.
Mm.
So 2021 was a mad year before that. 2020 was a mad year before that. So it's like now it's just like, yo, people's expectations are gonna, people are trying again that whole 2023 is gonna be a good year for you. Good luck, man. You know, see how that went last year and the year before.
Can you not see the pattern?
Yeah.
Remember how 2020 started, man? January the 3rd, Soleimani got
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
That's apparently they put it in the new Call of Duty, man.
Right.
Wow.
You full out of Predator missile into that guy, man.
Oh, wow. Shit.
Just his rings left. Like.
I don't want to be working in those offices, man. Wow, was it Activision?
Yeah.
You don't want to be working for Activision, man. You got some wild Iranian, was it Carmanians, some wild Carmanians.
Yeah. Listen, hey, that's you know, we will wait and see what the year's got, man. Might not even have to wait out a week. Who knows? Yeah. So pretty the one is the apostles and elders, great Lord, from all world. Yeah, shalom.
Shalom.